Hello. As you can probably tell from my voice, I am not well. Although, yeah, I should say I'm not well. I have a virus. I have the virus COVID for the second time. I had it about a year ago. And uh, I think I caught it off my wife. I hope I did. That's what the working theory is at the moment, that she came home from work about just over a week ago, week and a half ago, and she was hit really suddenly with like really like fever and fatigue and really sore body, muscle aches. But then she kind of, well, after like a day or two of just kind of resting, she kind of bounced back and she was fine. She's got a cough still. So I assume that was it. And she passed it on to me. But we tested her when she came home that day and she was negative, and it might have been too early. But anyway, then late last week I started getting a tickly throat, and it progressively moved on to more full body symptoms like fatigue and just, I think I mentioned last week I had really bad brain fog, and I tested yesterday and I was positive, unfortunately. So I hope it was my wife gave it to me, and I hope it's not that I have another one and I'm going to give it back and she's going to get a separate thing, because that would really suck. But you can just hear I'm really blocked up. That's kind of the at this stage, when I'm at day 3 or 4, I'm just super blocked up in my nose. Like it's like a cold, but a bit. Yeah, I'd say it feels like a bad cold. Last year when I had it the first time, it was much more like a flu, like bad fever for about 24 hours and really sore muscles in my back, really bad backache, and then just fatigue for like a week, like quite extreme fatigue. But by about day 5 of that, I was kind of feeling okay. So hopefully, this one doesn't progress any strange way. Cause yeah, it sucks getting sick. It sucks thinking that, is this what it's going to be like for the rest of life? Going to get this virus once a year. I guess people say, well, you get a cold and flu. Well, you don't get a flu every year. People to understand what the flu is. When you get flu, influenza, you know it. I think I've had the influenza 2 or 3 times in my life. I had it once when I was living in Korea. I went once about 12 years ago, and once when I was a kid, I remember. And each time it hits you like a truck. Like you're feeling like, oh, I feel like a little bit strange. And then like within a couple of hours, you're just like, shivering and fucking shaking and hot and cold and sore. Your skin is sore to touch and just can't even get out of bed. That's my experience with the cold. So you get that once every. I think they say the average is like once every 7 years. 7 or 8 years, people get the flu. And then seasonal colds where you can kind of shake them off in a couple of days. Every now and then you'll get a bad one. But having a kid, which I've got a 6-year-old, he just brings home every virus that's currently going around the country. So I get quite a lot of colds, but they're not a big deal. But this, I'm not meant to say the word, am I? COVID feels a bit different. It feels much more whole body. You know what I mean? And last year when I got it, like I said, after about 5 days or a week, I was kind of returning to normal. But I certainly didn't feel fully normal for like a month. I felt a bit tired, and my body was just like blur. And the worst, not the worst thing, but kind of the thing that lasted longest is I had like kind of form of depression for like a good month afterwards. Just like a really like, I don't know if you've ever had depression, you might know it's just like no motivation and just no, everything's just grey and it's hard to kind of put into words, that kind of depression. But anyway, sorry for the long introduction ramble. I thought I'd make a video because I haven't made one for a few days, and I feel well enough to do that. My nose is very blocked up, you can hear, but hopefully you can understand me. I thought I'd look through another one of my cases of CDs that I threw away. This one I haven't opened for ages, so I can't actually remember what's in this one. This is a single leaf one, as in not the 4x4 one I showed in the previous video. This one, this one's, yeah, it's got stuff in it that I don't actually remember what I put in it. So it'd be interesting to flick through and see. Again, these are CDs that I owned and I, for whatever reason, threw away the jewel cases. And I think in these ones, most cases, I also threw away the booklet, the artwork. Anyway, let's have a look and see. Rapture. Rapture is a Finnish, from Finland, a Finnish kind of doom metal band, I guess I'd call them. It's a very good album. They changed singers after this album, and with the new singer, I didn't like the work after that. But I recommend that if you like kind of, I don't know, maybe it's even more than doom. I'd say it's not like super doomy. It's more doomy, gothic doomy in the vein of Catatonia. But it's a good album. Recommended. Rapture Futile. Rage the Machine. Rage the Machine. That's Lateralis by Tool, which is over the Rage Against the Machine artwork for some reason. So I've saved that booklet for the self-titled Rage Against the Machine album. Oops. No, I actually won that on a radio station, I should say. I think that's the 20th anniversary edition of the Rage Against the Machine album, and I won it on Radio Huraki in 2012, I remember. I rung up Mikey Havoc. If you're a New Zealander, you might know Mikey Havoc. He was doing the evening show at the time, from like 7 to midnight or 7 to 10 or whatever. And I rung up, and he, whatever, I can't remember what the competition was. And Mikey Havoc gave me the album. Good old Havo. Regurgitator Art. CDR, burned copy of Radiohead and Rainbows. Benz. I showed that actually, didn't I? I showed that I've got 2 copies. I've got an intact copy of that. Kid A. Automatic for the People by RM. I've got an intact copy of that. Refused. Shape of Punk to Come. One of the greatest albums of the 90s. One of my favorite albums, full stop. This is a brilliant, brilliant album. I should do a review about that. But this is not secondhand, and I don't have the case, so I can't really do a review. But if you like, I don't know, I wouldn't even say punk. If you just like rock music, this is a brilliant album. So Shape of Punk to Come obviously is taken from the Ornette Coleman Shape of Jazz to Come. But I don't know. It sounds like that, like as in it really pushed it forward. That, I guess what hardcore and punk and that late 90s thing. Excuse me. It sounds like they pushed it forward. It influenced a lot of bands that came after them. What's that? Rammstein. So it's Reis, Liebest für alle da. CDR of Kanye West. It's Rosenrot by Rammstein. Mutter. Herzeleid by Rammstein. So I was a big fan of Rammstein. I still am a big fan of Rammstein. But for whatever reason, I didn't hold on to the jewel cases and artwork of those, which is a bummer. Rachmaninoff, the Russian composer, pianist. Rage the Machine, Renegades. These all are. This must be alphabetical because these have all been R so far. Another copy of Rage Against the Machine, self-titled. I think that's the one I won. Back here, that's the original, the 1992 edition. Well, issuing. What do you want to call it? And this is the 20th anniversary one. Sound Fragment. Now, it's a Sound Fragment. I would say no one has ever heard of them. They are a Chinese I don't know, how would you call them, an indie alternative kind of sounding band. I don't know much about Chinese music at all, especially kind of underground, not pop stuff. But I had a friend who liked rock music, and I recommended lots of rock, you know, American and British rock music to her. She was Chinese, I should say, and in turn, she bought me a gift of a Chinese rock, and I always thought it was actually pretty good. Sounds quite Radioheadish. I haven't listened to it for a long time though, but Sound Fragment, worth checking out. Siguros Tak CDR, The Simpsons, Songs in the Key of Springfield. I bought that in 1997. I used to love The Simpsons. The Simpsons were like my life, my teenage years. The two things that I'd say were like the most important to me were The Simpsons and music. Those classic Simpsons seasons. Season 1 through about, I don't know, when did I stop watching? I guess the mid 2000s. I kind of stopped. Well, no, late 2000s. But man, I've seen those episodes. I'd say season 1 through 10, or maybe. They, like most people, they were in syndication, so they had reruns, and just I've seen them so many times, and I love them so much. And so yeah, I used to like collect Simpsons paraphernalia, like toys and comics and anything with Simpsons on it, I would collect. But then I kind of haven't watched a new Simpsons episode for well over 10 years. I remember one of the last ones I watched was the Lady Gaga one, which must have been about 2012, because I remember I was living in an apartment in the city. Oh, bloody hell. But it was so bad that I just thought, I'm giving up on this. They were pretty bad already, a lot of the episodes in that time, but that Lady Gaga one it wasn't a comedy show. It was almost like, just like, I don't know. Anyway. Slipknot, Iowa, Sepultura, Roots, which I got 2 copies of that. I think I showed the other copy in a video. Soulfly, Max Cavalera's other band. What's this? So that's Slipknot version 3.0, what it's called. Tonic, a single of You Wanted More. What's this? Nation of Ulysses. Nation of Ulysses are they were on Discord. Kind of like an early hardcore band. I was told that Refused were quite, what do you call it, influenced by the Nation of Ulysses. So I found this second hand and I bought it, and I, to be honest, wasn't the biggest fan of it. Couldn't hear a lot of the Refused, the lineage from them to Refused, but anyway. Jerry Seinfeld album. Daisuke. I don't know if I should tell the story of that. Actually, no, I'm not going to tell the story of that. Sonata Arctica are a Finnish power metal band. It's a great album. Winter Hearts Guild. I recommend that album. Senshot by Rammstein. More CDRs. Don't know what that's about. That's like a rock compilation. CD1, CD2. The Betrayed by Lost Prophets. Well, the less said about them, the better. Röyksopp, The Understanding. Brilliant album, that. One of their best. Philip Glass, Concerto. Yeah, Röyksopp, Trent Reznor, White. Don't know what that's all about, actually. Keep that in there in case I remember what it's for. Okay, towards the end here, it's just kind of rubbish, I guess. Pure chill out. More CDRs, CDRs, CDRs. So yeah, there's a lot of albums there that are in the R section. Can't actually remember what, like, anyway. But, I think that kind of shows, again, a lot of kind of good albums there that I really do regret throwing away jewel cases and art. Like we think of that first one there, Rapture, Futile. That's not a common album to find at all. I've never seen it anywhere. I can't remember if I bought that in the store about 20 years ago or if I a lot of that kind of European stuff I've got like Rapture or Sonata Arctica or I ordered online because you can't really find it here. Well, you couldn't. Probably still can't. So it's a bummer that I threw away the case and artwork for that. But what's done is done, eh? Anyway, hopefully I get better, eh? Hopefully next time I make a video, I'm feeling and sounding much more normal. I actually feel okay, my body. I can feel a bit tired. And it's just because my head is so bunged up that I kind of just feel like you just feel weird. Like you feel like that Radiohead song, your head is full of feathers. I feel like my head is like a pillow and it's full of stuff full of feathers. I don't know if that's a very good description of the feeling, but yeah. So anyway, I know it's a bit of a low effort video, but I'm feeling quite low effort as you could imagine. Thank you. See you later.